everyone. We have Seema from GMAT, and I know you have a lot of questions to ask to her. So let's just begin this session. So welcome on board, first of all.
Thank you.
How has been your experience attending this fair with IMS Venturi?
So first of all, I'd like to say that this has been fun, and I really appreciate you guys trying out this new venture and event, and it's turned out pretty good. And one of the things that I love best about this also was the intent of the candidates who came and spoke to me. You've done a great job laying the groundwork and educating them about, what the GMAT exam is and what it can do for them. And the kind of questions that they have been asking is, they've been trying to deep dive into it and try to understand things better. So in that way, I think it's been highly productive, and I hope the candidates have actually benefited from the interaction also. And I'm kind of like looking forward to other events that you might actually do. So great job. I mean, the interaction with your team was also really great. Thank you for the really amazing experience.
Thank you so much. And I think there are a lot of questions which students might have.
Okay.
And we are here to ask you a few of the questions from the students we have interacted with. And they really would want to know about the trends of the GMAT scores among international students.
Okay, so in terms of the scores, obviously, the GMAT has undergone a change. One of the things that I would start with before talking just about the scores itself is that I think this is a great platform to mention. From July 1st, the GMAT exam, the earlier version, will be known as the GMAT exam 10th edition.
Wow.
And there will not be a focus edition anymore. There will just be the GMAT exam. Since there's only one version of the exam that exists now, which is the new version.
Right.
So that's GMAT exam and the earlier version 10th edition. So one of the bigger questions has always been about how do people compare both the scores, because the 10th edition scores also exist for 5 years from the point of actually taking the exam. And the score is 200 to 800, whereas the focus edition score is 205 to 805. And the big question has been, how are universities actually the business schools going to actually look at the score? And we've been trying to educate that the percentile is the way to actually compare them. And the business schools are also going to continue looking at the percentiles. That means do not compare the scores from both the exams directly. Instead of that, look at the percentile if you want to kind of like draw a comparison between both. And while the scores for the focus edition, now known as a GMAT exam, might look lower, for instance, a GMAT 10th edition 650 would now probably be like a 605 on the new version of the GMAT. And the moment people see that, it looks like the score has gone down, but that's not the truth. It's just that the score has been recalibrated. So I think this is one point that any candidate looking to write a GMAT exam, looking to go for an international education, or even use a GMAT exam in India, they have to keep this in mind and not draw wrong conclusions.
I think everybody should listen to it, because there's a huge change, but then again, you should be looking after studying these things and getting into intricate details, which is very important. So I think that is why we have Seema on this platform today. So Seema, another one, are there any new resources or tools provided by GMAT to help students prepare for GMAT more effectively?
100% yes. So we've always had this, like our official prep materials, the official guide, then we have the supplements to the official guide, like quantitative review, verbal review, and data insights review. The practice exams, free practice exams 1 and 2, and then the practice exams, paid ones 3 and 4 and 5 plus 6. So all of these have a lot of materials for the candidates to actually prepare with. The free practice exam itself, each one can be reset twice. That can be reset multiple times. The paid practice material can be reset twice. Each time with the reset, the product team has actually come up with a lot of new questions, and there are a lot of newer questions that they will see in the reset also, because people think that, okay, I'll take the exam and then if I reset it, I'm going to see repeat questions. But that's not essentially the case now. Our team has done a very good job of making sure that the people who are thinking about taking the GMAT exam have got sufficient material to prep with. And ideally, I do advocate to prepare with the official materials, primarily because there's a lot of effort that has gone from a part of the product team who actually makes the real GMAT questions also. So anything that you see on the official guide, on the practice exams, is the actual algorithm that's used on the, the GMAT exam. The questions are the actual kind of questions that come in the original exam. So there's just a lot to actually, indicative of what the original exam or the actual exam that they're going to experience is going to be. So the prep materials is available on the mba.com/exam prep. So that's free. Start with the free practice material at least.
Perfect. I think this is very, very important detail for all of us to know about it. All right. So can you please explain the GMAT's role in the admission process and how it is compared to the other standardized tests like GRE?
All right. So first of all, what I would start off with is saying that GMAT is not a one-stop solution. Like, we are not an exam that's meant for anything and everything. It's graduate management admission test is there for a reason. That name is there for a reason. It's for management programs. Now, one of the things that people are not entirely clear about is when, traditionally GMAT has always been associated with MBA.
Right.
So it's not taken back to business masters. For instance, like your masters in management, masters in financial analytics, or masters in marketing and other kind of courses. So whether it be a business masters or whether it be your traditional MBA programs or the not so traditional MBA programs right now, GMAT is the exam that best aligns with these courses. So my question has always been, and somebody is taking effort to prepare for an exam, they're paying money to prepare and write the exam, they might as well take an exam which is actually going to add value in their lives. Because the kind of things that are tested on the GMAT, for instance, like the critical reasoning skills, the logical thinking skills, the decision making skills, your data literacy skills. I mean, hands down, it's even if you look at the corporate recruiter survey, you'll see that these are the skills that the employers are looking most forward to in their candidates. Not only do they help the candidates succeed in the business education, because it's great, you can take any exam to get into a business school, but then it's important for you to succeed in that business school for you to get a job. And it's important for you to get a job and sustain in that job. If you don't have those skills, I mean, how are you going to do that?
Absolutely.
So that's one of the things that people don't really realize. And GMAT essentially helps you build all of those skills. Plus, of course, scholarships.
Yes.
And I think that's something that is given. Like, it's a part of the eligibility criteria for a lot of scholarships. Yes. And it really proves your mettle to people. You've taken the commitment, you've shown the commitment, you've taken the effort, and it's not, you can't just simply overnight kind of like, get a GMAT score, right? Because that means you've acquired those skills. So it really is a true testament to the business school and your employers to get a job with this. So.
And I think most importantly, GMAT also plays a very pivotal role in filtering out a lot of applications for many of the universities. So it actually is one of the filters what all the universities, they generally prefer for the students.
At the same time, I actually want to say that, we try to advocate it as not being an elimination exam. And I'm sure you'll agree with this, because in India, we generally perceive exams as something, there's a cutoff and like my life is over. So the best thing about GMAT is that it's more of an exam which gives opportunities to people. That is, there's opportunity for scholarships, there's opportunity to get that admit, more than kind of like, okay, this is done and then my chance is over. So I always say that, do not think that, okay, you got the score and it's over. Yeah. Even with a score, even if that's not kind of like amounting up to what the school is asking, there's still chance. I mean, you obviously, spread this knowledge about kind of the profile and, the entire holistic view of the application as well. So that's exactly, I think what candidates have to realize, that do not consider assessments, any standardized assessment, as a a cutoff or an elimination. It's just opportunity to actually show more. So yeah.
Perfect. I think most of the students might just have these questions and it is now being answered by Seema. So quickly get your questions ready. So in case you have any more questions, please write back to us. Last 2 questions from our side. Can you discuss the significance of the GMAT in securing scholarships or financial aid for international students, like you've just stated?
Right. So yes, it is. Getting scholarship is always competitive. It's really important that they get a higher percentile when trying to apply for scholarship, because there are various kinds of scholarships. There are need-based scholarships. There are diversity and gender-based inclusion-based scholarships. There's there are specific externally funded scholarships also. In all of these cases, I mean, who's not applying for scholarships? Everybody wants to make sure that the financial burden kind of like is eased up, and the best way, as one of the criteria that the school can actually look at, in this case definitely kind of that filtering comes into the picture, because they do want to make sure that the best candidates, the most deserving candidate rather, gets it. And from that perspective, GMAT score, a competitive GMAT score, becomes very important.
Absolutely.
While, for the other one, I said that, okay, even if you didn't get to a certain score, it's okay. But when it comes to the scholarship, I'd say do aim for getting a competitive GMAT score, because that, again, along with all of the other application criteria, that does make sure that your, the scholarship application is kind of like stronger. But ideally, I would also recommend that you start that process faster. Do not keep it for the last moment, which we normally have a tendency to do. You do have to look at the scholarships offered by various programs and what are the deadlines, because scholarship deadlines may happen. Let's say a need-based scholarships do happen a little earlier.
Yeah.
Merit-based is along with the application itself, and round 1 is ideally when you should apply for it. So I think that's a couple of things that people have to keep in mind, and that's essentially how GMAT also kind of like aids in making sure that the profile for scholarship becomes stronger.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The earlier you apply, the earlier chances you get to secure your places. Yeah. Perfect. Last but not the least, what are the key factors that business school looks at in a GMAT score report, and how can students ensure they meet these expectations?
I get this question a lot. Okay, what do the business schools look at? And the critical aspect of this question is that the business schools can actually tell you what the business schools are looking for. We are an exam, and we test a person very holistically in terms of the skills that the business schools are looking for, because when we made the change for the focus edition, now, as I said, the name change has happened to GMAT. The business schools were a part of that process. We are a non-profit organization, and we are made up of leading association of mission-driven business schools. And the thing is, these member schools, I mean, apart from like the member schools, we have also accepting schools, which is like a higher number. But everybody has been a part of this entire process.
Right.
And but when it comes to the acceptance, each school has its own criteria. For instance, some schools may look at the overall, score. Some people may look, and we've been educating and encouraging everybody to look at the percentiles only, and that is how they're going to actually look at it. But besides that, they might look at section-based scores. So that's really, at a university's discretion or a business school's discretion as to how they want to actually look at it. Some people may say that, oh, we want to look at only the test center scores and not the home-based exam. And that's a university's call. So what the candidates or anybody looking for, an MBA program or a business program has to do is to make sure they religiously actually look up at the requirements that is, put up on the website for these B schools.
Right.
Or reach out to them. Or of course,
Absolutely.
They can reach out to you guys also and try to get that information.
Absolutely. I think she played it really safe over here.
I know, and it's a fact. It's literally a fact that as an assessment, I can only, talk about the assessment.
Absolutely.
And as you might be, if I'm offering you a service, you're using my service, and how you want to actually put it across to your customers is an entirely different, is your call, isn't it? So it's essentially how it actually works with the business school. So
absolutely. I think most of your answers have already been addressed by Seema. So in case you have a lot more, please write back to us or visit us, and we are okay arranging session with Seema once again at IMS Venturi. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.